Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Carnegie Institution of Washington for the 20th reunion for First Light. It's a very, very exciting occasion. Thank you all for coming. We're not going to, it's much more important as far as we're concerned for people to see old friends and mingle and have fun than to listen to a lot of speechifying. But you know, you've got to say something on an auspicious occasion like this. So I would first like to welcome to the podium Dr. Maxine Singer, who back in '89, when the program commenced, she was the president of the Carnegie Institution of Washington, and realised that kids in the city were kind of being shortchanged in terms of their science experiences. And First Light was her answer to that. And it was visionary, and I know that it has been very important in the lives of many, many kids. And a lot of kids have come to our program and experienced things that they would never have experienced otherwise. We're going to be hearing from a few of those people too today. But firstly, Maxine, I'd like to welcome you here to greet everyone and give a round of applause for founding the program.
Well, thank you. There were mixed motivations for starting First Light, one of which was certainly, as Julie said, that I could recognize that a lot of kids in the city weren't being introduced to science in the way that I know science as a scientist, namely by doing things, not by just sitting in a classroom and memorizing stuff. But also I was struck by having this beautiful building, which was empty a lot of the time, and I thought we ought to have people in here. And it was also true that the institution, which is now more than a century old, and whose job it is to do scientific research, has been sitting here at this spot since early in the 20th century, but very few people in the city ever came in or knew about the building. So I think First Light was a way to begin to accomplish a whole lot of things. For people in the city to get to know something about the Carnegie Institution, for us to bring to city kids the thing that we do best, which is science, and to liven up this building at the same time. First Light was the first thing we did, but since then we've done a whole lot of other things, thanks to Julie Edmonds and Toby Horn and Marlena Jones and now Bianca Abrams, who's joined us. So we have a bunch of programs, not just for kids, but for teachers and in schools. And we're constantly sort of looking for new things to do. What I would like to tell you, just take 2 minutes to tell you something about the Carnegie Institution, because it's not just a beautiful building. It's an institution that was founded by Andrew Carnegie, who was a very wealthy man, who made a lot of money in steel, mainly, not always in the nicest ways. But once he earned this huge fortune toward the end of the 19th century, he turned around and started to give it away. And he did many things. He made 2,000 public libraries in the United States. And he made this institution as well as 21 other institutions. And the purpose of this institution was to do research. And at the present time, we have laboratories in California, in the upper northwest part of this city, in Baltimore, and an astronomical observatory in the Andes in northern Chile, where we have very big telescopes for astronomical research. So First Light kids, when they come, they're joining a very deep scientific community, and they're being part of a scientific community, which I think is a great way to get introduced into science. And the institution is really happy to welcome the kids from the city into our community. And I'm very happy to see you all here tonight. Thank you for coming.
Now, I would actually like to tell you a little bit about how I got involved in First Light. I won't take long, but you can tell by my accent that I wasn't born in this city. I came here 20 years ago, and it happened to be a few months after Maxine had commenced First Light. And I usually say it like this, that I was, all alone in a strange country, strange city, and Maxine asked me if I would like to volunteer in the First Light program. I thought, well, this is a really fantastic way to make a connection with my new home. So I did, and it really, it changed my life, as I'm sure it's changed many of yours. And one of the first students that I met back then in the early part of 1990, a few months after First Light began, is Daryl Allen, and he's here tonight. And I remember Daryl. Daryl, are you handy? Yes. You're next up. I remember Daryl as this amazing bundle of energy, and he's still very, very energetic, as you will find out now. But he was actually, one of the things that goes on in this institution is that once you become part of our family, by participating in our programs or working here or whatever, we really consider you to be a family member. And in fact, Daryl is more than that, because his grandfather, Lloyd Allen, worked here at the Carnegie Institution for 45 years and recently retired from here. So I knew Daryl as a little sprout, and there are a few photos of him over there on the side. Daryl, if you would like to come up and say a few words, that would be fantastic.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Dr. Singer. I didn't really prepare anything to say this evening, but I was contacted by Julie via Facebook about a month ago, and she informed me about the 20-year reunion, and she asked me if I would like to come and speak to everyone. And without a second thought, without any type of hesitation whatsoever, I said absolutely. This program has provided me with a lot of lessons that I've carried with me in my 27 years on this earth. From the field trips to the friendships that I've established with other peers in the program, who I don't see any of them here this evening, but I see a lot of middle school age kids here this evening, and you might not realize it now. You may take a lot of it for granted, but yeah, I'm sure. Like, I see some of the kids back there now, they're just internet surfing right now, but a lot of the experiences that you will receive from this program, they're going to be very important and very valuable to your self-esteem, to the way you treat other people, just to a lot of things that will help you succeed in life. And I wouldn't have missed this for anything. I have my daughter; she's just born Friday evening, so So I wouldn't have missed this opportunity, even if it was only one person here. I wouldn't have missed this for the world. So that's it. I hope everyone has a good time this evening, and I'm going to enjoy myself. So hope you all do the same. All right. Thank you.
There are actually some photos from those early days over on the table over here on the right. And so I've asked Daryl, and if anybody here was in the program in the early 90s, not just 89, but in the early 90s, those photos are ones that I took when I was a volunteer. Most of them are. And I was a volunteer until about 95. So if you were in the program at that time, you might find yourself there, and you might be able to help us identify some of the other people that are in them that we've lost contact with. That would be really great. We'd appreciate your help. So, First Light, when it commenced, was a program for elementary students, 4th graders through 6th grade. And It was a year-long program. Students came at 9:30 on a Saturday morning. We would do lab stuff in the morning, then we would give lunch, and then in the afternoon we went on a field trip. Over the years, that changed somewhat because of the expertise that remained here and because of a need that we saw for programs like this to be available to middle schoolers. And there is a person here in the room who was actually here at the transition time. So she was actually a First Light student in grades 3, 4 and 5. 4, 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8. And she's actually my namesake. Before I was married, my last name was McMillan. So this is Alexis McMillan, who was in First Light. I think she's got the record for, I think, 6 years.
Hi, I'm Alexis, and I guess I'm just going to tell you what I remember from my experience. When I first came into First Light, I remember my dad told me, your Saturdays are going to be completely gone from now on. And I'm just like, oh no. And he was like, because you're going to be learning science. I'm like, what, on Saturdays? But as time went on, I realized that it was actually fun, and I learned a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have learned in school. But they helped me a great deal, I can just say that, a great deal as I went on ahead. I made a lot of friends that I can honestly say that I still, Joel, who's waving back there, who I can honestly say I still talk to today. And it also taught me a lot of team building, working with different people, working with different environments. It really did help. And we went on different field trips. It exposed me to different environments that I normally would not have been exposed to. And everybody, all the instructors, they were a great help to me, because if I didn't understand something, they would always be right there to explain it, even if I just had my little slow moments where I just didn't get anything. But yeah, thank you guys for always being there for me. And yeah, it was a real fun experience for me, and it helped a lot.
Thank you. Well, I don't think I need to introduce you, Joel. Joel Battle was one of the year that we converted to a middle school program, and he was with us for the full 3 years. Students tend to come to our program when they're in the program. They tend to come for as many years as they're eligible, and I think that's we feel very proud of that. And Joel is one such student. So Joel, would you like to come up for a sec?
Hello. One thing that I really would like to say about being a part of First Light was that it really did help me in furthering my understanding of science as a whole, because when I was in elementary school, the science program was cut so short that while I was interested in it, I really did not get a chance to further explore all the things that are out there in the realm, not just the simple, basic biology, but really get to see how plant life develops and, why robotics works and a number of different things. It really was a really mind-expansive program. It just took my own understanding and just shot it out into space. I got to see so many things I never thought I would be able to see, got to do so many things that I probably would never have had an opportunity to do if I had not come to the Carnegie Institute and done this. And losing the Saturday was well worth it. I really do have to say that, because, again, being able to come here and experience all I experienced, meet the people that I met, have such a supportive group of everyone here, Dr. Julie and Dr. Toby, everyone has just been so wonderful, and I can still talk to everyone now. I can get help from people that I knew in the program, and it was just a really wonderful experience to come here. and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to be a part of First Light.
Our final few words will come from Kendra McDowell. Now, Kendra was in the program. We're looking at each other earlier this evening, and she can't recall what year she was in First Light, but I'm pretty sure it was the last year that I was volunteering here. I think we overlapped a little because she just looks so familiar. But people change quite a bit in 20 or 15 years or so. But Kendra was in the program, I think, from 95 to 96, 7. So for at least a couple of school years, and she wants to say something, but and I hope that will include what you're up to now. Okay.
Hello, my name is Kendra McDowell. Yeah, I was in the program. I believe I was in around 4th grade, 4th through 6th grade. And I might have been a little younger than that, honestly, but what I remember most is I do remember this room here, and I remember like the expansiveness of the Institute. And also there were classes downstairs, smaller classes downstairs, yes. And I think my fondest memory of First Light was I think we were in this room here, like sitting in a circle, and our instructor, he had like a backpack on, and it was like something was moving around in the backpack. And I think out came this snake. And and then also we did a lot, as usual, like tons of field trips. And I remember we did like hiking. We would hike, I guess we were hiking through Rock Creek Park, maybe along the Anacostia River. That was very memorable. But one thing that I must say about First Light was it really piqued my curiosity in science. Just this whole idea of I think this snake is a good example. Like, if there's something moving, like, what's inside? I want to research further. I want to know more about this animal, that type of thing. And so it definitely did that. And I feel like, at least for me, I continued on my path with science, and I ended up going to science summer camps. I went to Banneker High School and graduated from there, and then went on and did lots of science in high school. And then I went on to Swarthmore College, where I majored in biology and religion. And currently, I'm in medical school now, and at Mount Sinai in New York City. And I think this exposure at a young age, such a young age, is something that individuals at first that were able to take part in First Light and other programs like this, it is a blessing. Because, as you said, science is definitely underfunded in lots of school systems, including the DC public school system. And just to give students the opportunity to explore and to be curious and to investigate and to understand the scientific method, and just to take, even if they don't go into science, just this idea of wanting to know more about their environment around them is something that's invaluable, and something that I definitely learned through First Light. And I just want to thank the program. Thank you.
Well, Kendra, now I know that we definitely overlapped for some time, because I remember that day too. And it was actually somebody that we brought in who was a snake expert. This guy had, I don't know, like a 12-foot python in a backpack. And he said that he'd come from Baltimore on the train and then took the metro here. And I'm thinking, it made me very suspicious if I saw somebody with a backpack with contents wriggling. Whenever I see somebody with a backpack, I check for that specifically. But it was really, I know that it was great, because I've heard other people recall the same thing and say that they were terrified of snakes until that day, but got to hold them, handle them, and so on, and it dispelled those fears, which, it's worthwhile. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming tonight. We've got a few, always we will have tasks to do at one of our functions, okay? So most of you are aware of the tasks at hand. It's been really a challenge to to reconnect with people that were in the program 20 years ago. All we had for those records were paper, forms on paper that had to be gone through and so on. And from 20 years till now, I don't know how many times you've moved house, but I've moved an awful lot of times. So, it's easy to lose track of people. But fortunately, with the social networking that is available these days, we're hoping to use that as a tool to keep in touch with you guys. So at that far wall there, we have 3 computers set up, and we ask that you check your address, your contact information. If you're a student or former student and you have your own email address, we'd like to have that. And finally, parents and alums, we would like you to join the First Light alumni page on Facebook, if you're a member of Facebook. And you can invite yourself to join through your own email address. That would be great. That's tasks numbers 1 and 2. Task number 3, also on those computers, is a survey that can be filled out and electronically submitted, and it'll go straight into a database. And that's for us to get some feedback from you that we weren't able to get at the time you were in the program very efficiently, but we want to get some feedback now that we're able to do this. So there's a survey there to fill out. Next task is any of you who, I want you to go and check out those old photos anyway, but if you happen to recognise anybody, they could be your neighbour, let us know. And finally, in the boardroom, which is across the other side of the rotunda, the timber-lined, beautiful room in there, we have John and Isaiah, who are set up. I don't know how many of you listen to NPR, but on a Friday they do a story call where people can go into a booth and record interviews or whatever about their lives. So we're going to do the First Light Story Corps in there. And if you've got anything to say whatsoever, it can be funny, it can be scary, it can be just a single memory, it can be something that you feel about the program, how it affected your life, kids or parents, please go in there. The last thing is not a chore, but it is a request, and that is that we have a book. Sunita? Is that Sunita or Ashoda? Yeah, can you pass me one? Or hold it up? This is a book that we would like you all as participants here in the First Light reunion to take with you. It's a beautiful book that was published for the centennial celebrations of the institution, and it gives you a really pretty thorough history of the institution. So we would like you all to take one of those, and there is a plastic, it's recyclable plastic, so it's biodegradable plastic. So we're being responsible here, okay? Otherwise, please stay, enjoy. There's plenty of food, chat, and it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to have you all here to share this event. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, my name is Erica Thompson, and I was in First Light in, I think, 4th or 5th grade, and I live in Washington, D.C. I have, like, 2 memories. I remember we went on this boat trip, and we went to, like, test the pollution of the water, and we tested the temperature, and it was really cool. I remember it was cold that day. And then, I had Mr. Taylor as a teacher, and another one, we went camping, and it was Mr. Taylor's daughter's birthday, and we lit the candles for his cake, and that was exciting. And it rained so hard, and the power went out, so it was dark everywhere. But it was fun, and I had a lot of fun at First Light, and it made me like science more, and I actually took a forensic science class because of it. So I guess you could say it inspired me. And that's it.
My name is Alexis McMillan. I've pretty much been in First Light from when I could in 3rd grade to 8th grade. It was when Mr. Taylor was still instructing, and we went on this camping trip It was really fun until all the power just suddenly went out because we were at a nature center and all the power went out. So we're all wondering, what's happening, what's happening? They're like, oh, don't worry, it was just a tornado. Everybody's like, tornado, tornado, tornado. And I was like, it's only 2 miles away. We're like, 2 miles away, it can still come over here. But it didn't come over here, so it was, it was still fun. And I got to eat deer meat, which I thought was pepperoni, but I was eating, it's like, this pepperoni is good. It's not pepperoni. What is it? Venison? What's that? Deer meat? Ew. But it was still good, so it was fun. That was my funnest experience.
Joel Battle. I was here, I believe, for my 6th, 7th grade years. Well, on our wonderful camping excursion on the year that I was here, it was particularly interesting. I was trying to clean up with Mr. Guy and everyone else that was in the men's dorm, and there was just a mop and bucket that was already sitting there, so we were just thinking, okay, well, we'll just pick this up, fill it with water. We'll be done real quick. I pulled the mop out, and it was still kind of dripping water, so I was thinking, okay, well, I'll shake this out, and then we'll go ahead and fill it, and we'll be okay. I start shaking the mop, and suddenly, nice little black earwigs start dropping out of the mop, and everyone just screams and like starts stomping on them, and there's just this massive ruckus because you have all these wonderful little creatures scuttling about, and that was wonderful. And then to continue bug stories, right after that, when we were trying to use the showers, we went in there early morning, and to find that there is this wonderfully large, I forget what it's called, Big Daddy Spider or whatever it is they're called, just crouched in the corner, sitting there in one of the showers, just staring outward, and we were like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to find another place to shower this morning. But it was an awesome camping experience though, but man, that was freaky.
My name is Asha Anderson. I did First Light. I was a participant of First Light about 5 years ago, I think, in 2003 through to 2004, my 4th and 5th grade years of elementary school. I just want to talk a little bit about my experience there. I remember going on a camping trip, and that was a lot of fun. We had some mishaps, you know, the lights went out and we had to use candles, and that was just a lot of fun to be in the outdoors and learn about science in that way. I also remember going on just various field trips and packing our lunches and getting ready to go, and every day we were excited about what we were doing. I remember one day we were on a boat, and we did, you know, testings on the water there and the pollution and on, you know, the temperature. But we also caught a catfish, which happened to have, I think, a wound, so we had to put it back. But it was interesting just to see the fish, and now I'm, you know, in love with animals, in love with, you know, how they work and what their functions are. So, and I also remember another time when before we went on the field trip, we were in the classroom learning about different minerals and different things that happen in the world, and we watched a video about oil fields. So I think First Light was a very inspiring experience for me, and, you know, I was glad that I was a participant of it.
My name is Chanel Bowen. I came to First Light probably back in 1995. I was in the 4th grade, so I was in the early part of the program. I do remember coming and doing sandbox type activities, just putting my hands in the sand and figuring out what's there. The field trips definitely, all the students that I went to elementary school with, I saw a lot of them in the pictures that were out there. So it was good to jog my memory with that.
David Corrett. I was here for about 2 years. I recommend it to everyone that I meet or know that I meet in the future and that I know now. Also, that it was a great experience for me, and it also helped me in school based on like science, and my knowledge with science and just basic stuff. Yeah.
My name is Tafiq Abdul Kareem. I went here back in 2007 to 2008, and I'm an alum. I think First Light is it was a very good experience for me, and like the experience that I went through, like during the program, will help me out in many ways. Because like right now in high school, I'm taking physics, and we learn a lot of things like about earth science, about the way things move and work, and I think like it's a very good experience for me. I think the people who run First Light they're very good because they helped me get into my high school. Well, like when I was applying for high schools, they helped me with my recommendations and whatnot. So I think that's a very good part of First Light.
Audrey Edmonds. I started at First Light actually through Julie, my stepmom, as she was a volunteer here at the time, and she would bring me along, even though I wasn't necessarily a DC public school student. She brought me along every other weekend. I just wanted to say that First Light was a real source of it was a real self-confidence builder for me. I came in as I think I was a little younger than the rest of the children in the program, so beyond piquing my interest in science, which I didn't end up pursuing necessarily as a major in college, I did end up going in that direction because I became passionate about environmental studies, and I'm a real conservationist now. So I just wanted to say thank you. That's all.
I'm Teresa Day, and I am the parent of Tawfiq Abdul Kareem. He graduated last year from First Light, and I just want to say thank you so much to Miss Julie, Mr. Guy, Miss Toby, Miss Marlena, and everyone for their dedication to come every Saturday and to work with these students. My son got so much out of it, and he was very excited to come and to tell me every wonderful little thing that happened. And I grew to love and trust what they were doing with them. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. That's it. Turn off the camera. Bye.